Truth and lies and the press are all at play in Russia's war in Ukraine, where Vladimir Putin has made only his second visit to occupied territories there. These pictures from the Kremlin state media show President Putin meeting Russian troops in Kherson in the south. His trip comes amid all the speculation about spring offensives. A top Ukrainian commander says that Russia is, quote, unsuccessful along most of the front line. But the leaked Pentagon documents also reveal just how quickly Kyiv is running out of important weapons and ammunition, and that the U.S. is, quote, pessimistic that they can actually bring a quick end to this war. So now this information is public knowledge. Will it put pressure on the Allies to speed up the supply of direly needed military aid? NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is joining me from HQ in Brussels. Welcome back to our program, Secretary General. What do you think? Will these leaks do what Ukraine hopes they will do and speed up Western NATO aid that it desperately needs right now?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to remember that we have already seen that some of these leakages are incorrect and are manipulated. So this incident, I don't think will actually impact what NATO allies are doing when it comes to Ukraine. What matters is that NATO allies have for a long time, and especially the last weeks and months, provided unprecedented support to Ukraine with more heavy equipment, with more ammunition, with battle tanks, with armored vehicles, and also fighter jets to enable Ukraine and Ukrainian forces to continue what they have already done, to liberate more land and to ensure that President Putin doesn't win the war in Ukraine.
Okay, so you say it's been manipulated. Maybe some of it has, but on the ammunition and on the weapons systems, there seems to be a lot of accuracy. This is what President Zelensky has said about that issue. Let's take a listen.
It is very important to understand this. Every time we hear that the promised supply of weapons is delayed, every time there are doubts about the type of weapons for Ukraine, about the range or other quality characteristics, every time it means that Ukrainian soldiers are giving their lives so that we have this time.
So, Secretary General, is it not true then that by May, their air defense ammunition and systems will run out? That's what the leaks say. Can you confirm that? Do they have enough?
But again, without commenting on the specifics of this incident and the leakages, let me just say that it has been a message from me, from many other leaders, that we need to provide Ukraine with more air defenses. That has been, for instance, a message every time we are met in this US-led contact group for Ukraine. We'll meet again this week in Ramstein on Friday. And I'm absolutely certain that the main message there will be that, yes, we recognize the enormous amount of weapons, ammunition, supplies that have already been provided to Ukraine, but we need to do even more because we need to ensure that Ukrainians are in the position where they can punch through the Russian lines and also cross minefields and be in a position where they can take back territory which is now currently illegally occupied by Russia. So this is something we discuss with Ukrainians every time we meet them. We will meet again later this week, and I'm absolutely certain that the needs they still have will be on the top of our agenda.
So I hear you very, forthrightly saying what they need and we must get it to them. So you then must be frustrated by what appears to be quite a sort of incremental build-up of what they need. At least that's what the Ukrainians say, and that's what's been out in the open for a long time. And for instance, even the European attempt to get them 1 million shells, artillery shells, by the end of the year is apparently not going to be fulfilled. The capability is not there. Is that right?
No, I will not call it incremental. It is unprecedented the level of support NATO allies and partners have delivered and are delivering, including a lot of modern systems, the HIMARS, the advanced air defense system, the Patriot batteries, but also the heavy modern battle tanks, the Leopards and the Challengers from the United Kingdom, and also advanced systems, of course, from the United States. And then also now fighter jets from several allies, MiG-29s from several allies. So instead of being too focused on the platforms, I think it's as important to focus on the need to sustain these platforms, because all these weapon systems, they need ammunition, they need maintenance, they need spare parts, they need all the support they require to be operational and to deliver the effect they are supposed to do. And that's exactly what we have done over the last weeks. It's an enormous amount of equipment which is now transported into Ukraine, and on top of that, NATO allies are providing training. This has enabled actually Ukrainians to make a lot of progress already, pushing back around Kiev in the beginning of the war, not least because of training and support given by NATO allies since 2014. And then liberating in the east around Kharkiv, and then the south around Kherson. But now they're moving into another phase, and it's for Ukrainians to decide on their operational issues. Our responsibility is to enable them to liberate occupied land.
So I want you to then tell me your assessment of the battlefield, of what you think about a counteroffensive in terms of, do they have the capability to do it? You know, the papers suggest, and it looks like Ukraine is very upset, that the US is pessimistic about its ability in any counteroffensive to make any serious territorial gains for a long, long time. What is your assessment of what's happening, for instance, around Bakhmut? That's one thing, but about a counteroffensive when it comes. It's meant to be coming this spring.
I think we should always be careful when it comes to predicting how a war evolves, because wars are by nature unpredictable. Having said that, we are enabling the Ukrainians to make more progress, to retake more land. Then, of course, there's always a dilemma, because the more time we spend, the more we can deliver to them when it comes to ammunition, sustainment of the systems, and also more weapon systems. But of course, the more time we spend, or the Ukrainians spend, before they launch new military offensive operations, the more time also the Russians have to build defensive positions, to establish more minefields, to dig more trenches. So there is a dilemma, and the only people that are able to actually make that difficult decision on when to launch any new operations is the Ukrainians. Our responsibility is to get in as much support as possible, as quickly as possible, and also to provide training. And that's exactly what we are doing. It will be the main issue to be discussed later on this week in Ramstein. Then what we see around Bakhmut is that Russia is trying to compensate what they lack in quality with quantity. Right. They are pushing in tens of thousands of troops, having very high casualties. But of course, this is also a big challenge for the Ukrainians, because they also pay a price to protect Bakhmut. So this is becoming now a war of attrition. And that's exactly what the Ukrainians want to change by launching new offensive operations.